This is Sam Hooper with the Institute for Justice. If you're thinking you haven't seen much of me on social media recently, that's because I've been holed up working on some new model legislation. As you know, I have the housing and property rights brief on our legislative team, so I work a lot on zoning reform, on eminent domain, anything to do with private property rights where they're being infringed by the government, and IJ offers our model legislation to help solve those problems and protect property owners. We've been working in a lot of statewide coalitions on housing reform. We've had great success in places from New Hampshire to Montana to my home state of Texas, and that's been really encouraging. But there's always more that can be done, and some states that have been leading the way with a lot of the existing reforms, things like minimum lot size reduction, residential and commercial, single stair, office to residential conversions, accessory dwelling units. They're looking ahead to some of the next things. What else can they do to help alleviate the housing crisis in their states? I'm personally of the belief that one of the biggest things that could be done is by re-legalizing an old form of housing that used to be pretty much ubiquitous in America up until the mid-20th century, and that's single room occupancy, SROs, also known as co-living or boarding houses historically. This is where you don't rent an entire one-bedroom apartment. You're renting often just a lockable bedroom in a building, and then you're sharing with other people renting a bedroom, communal facilities such as kitchen, bathroom, living space, a yard perhaps, and so on. Traditionally, these were seen as the bottom rung of the housing ladder, being marginally better than homelessness, and they were great for poor people, for students, low-income people, people moving to a new city, trying to become established. But they fell out of favor. People thought, these are a bad form of housing, they bring social problems with them, and they got rid of them. But what that did ultimately was just force people onto the streets and create homelessness and exacerbate the housing crisis. People are looking again at SROs now and thinking we can bring them back not only for the bottom rung of the housing ladder, but also different forms like premium adult dorms, co-living, kind of similar to co-work, and all these other things as well. But unfortunately, because of zoning, building code, fire regulations, a bunch of outdated regulations that really shouldn't apply and are quite discriminatory, SROs are very difficult if they're either economically infeasible to build or they're legally impossible to build in most cities and most states around the country. I think that's wrong. I think it's an infringement on property rights, and I think it's holding back what could be a really good solution to the housing crisis. So I'm working on some model legislation right now. We're tentatively calling it the Room Act, the Restoring Options in Occupancy Models, Room Act, that would re-legalize these forms of housing, which is great for property rights and great for solving the housing crisis. So that's what I've been doing. I'll check in with you once I've got it finally approved and uploaded, but I'm looking forward to taking this around the states and hopefully getting this passed in various states looking to solve their housing crises soon.